The new D-Day book has landed. The British have arrived at the shores of Normandy. Today we'll be looking at the new, latest and greatest British tanks from the new released D-Day book. Before we start, if you like this video and want more, please like and subscribe, but the best thing you can do is share this video. Doing this will help get new players interested and benefit our gaming community. Let's begin. First up on my list today we have the Churchill Armoured Troop. The box art looks pretty standard for a typical Flames of War release. Shows late war version and British and 3 vehicles inside the box. What's in the box? So we have 3 Churchill tanks, 1 decal sheet, 1 assembly diagram and 5 unit cards covering the several different variations of the Churchill 75mm, the Churchill 95mm and the Churchill Avery. Now looking at the unit card, we have a hit-on of a 4+, which is pretty standard for the veteran era of this time for the British. Looking at motivation now, we have a Confident on a 4+, Tank Assault Counterattack on a 3+, Protected Ammo Remount on a 3+ as well. The skill of this unit is 4+. Now we go down to our anti-tank. With a 75mm gun, we have an anti-tank of 10, firepower 3+, which is a standard 75 Sherman, a range of 28 inches. We also have the Churchill 6-pounder, anti-tank 11. However, we do suffer that 4+ firepower, and we still have the same range of 28 inches. MGs are standard, got 4 MGs, anti-tank 2, firepower 6. So looking at our armor, we've got front armor 9. For the late 75, we've got front armor 11, which is awesome. Side armor 8 and top armor of 2. Now looking at unit points, for a standard squadron of 3 Churchills, we have 18 points for 3 75mm, or we have 2 Churchills 75mm and 1 6-pounder for 18 points. To get the up armor of 11 from the original 9, it's 2 points extra per tank to get that armor to 11, which is not a bad trade, roughly 1 point per up armor. Overall, the advantage of this unit comes in plenty. I mean, the best thing I can see in this unit is the actually unit assault against infantry. If the tank was to go up to a Duggan infantry, they would easily crack that nut, having a great cross rating and a great counter attack rating for the assault. The only disadvantage I can see is the skill rating of the Churchill being at low, so when it comes to making blitz moves or when it comes to actually knocking out troops, it may struggle to do this. Some disadvantages from a gaming perspective if you were to play the Churchill would be the low anti-tank rating, having a low anti-tank of 10 and 11. This Churchill really can only take out the German medium tanks at this time, and in competitions if you were to face any heavily armoured Russian tanks, I can see the Churchill struggling quite a bit, especially if you had the 6-pounder with a firepower of 4+. You know, you'd roll in that 50-50 to try and get the ball across the line, and a lot of the times as a gamer myself, you never seem to make that 4+ dice roll. Now jumping over to the Crocodile, the Flame Tank Platoon. Now I personally love flame tanks in Flames of War. Having that auto firepower and the ability to make your opponent roll 2 saves is a massive advantage for taking out strong dug-in enemy positions or gun teams that are dug in, or anything that's infantry or a gun team is in danger of a flame. The standards are pretty much the same from the first Churchill that we looked at today. Has a hit rating of 4+. Going over to our motivation, we've got a Confident on 4+. Now our tank counterattack is a 6. That's kind of standard, so I wouldn't assault with this. Protected Ammo has a 3+ remount rating, so if it gets bailed out I can easily remount. Trained 4+. Flame Tank Assault 6, so it is useless in assaults almost. It's almost always going to break off and doesn't really be part of the assault. So we have a front armor of 11 and a side armor of 8 and a top armor of 1. So a few differences between the original Churchill we looked at today. Going to our points, we have for 3 Crocodiles it's 21 points, and for 2 it's 14. So roughly, well, dead on 7 points per tank, which isn't a bad buy for 7 points. 14 points if you're playing with a 100-point army is a relatively effective unit, especially when you get full rate of fire moving and you get 12 dice going up to a dug-in position of troops or guns. You're definitely going to be extremely effective in taking out some of those fixed positions. The next thing we have is a Cromwell armour troop with 5 vehicles. We can see 4 Cromwells in the picture and 1 British Firefly. On the back we have our standard assembly diagram. It shows 4 Cromwell tanks, 1 British 17 pounder Firefly, 1 decal sheet and 7 unit cards. On the back we also shows the Cromwell CS variation along with the Centaur variation, both of these having a 95mm gun, and the standard 75mm Cromwell. Looking at the unit card, we have a hit rating of a 4+, meaning it's a veteran. Going at our motivation, we have a confident on a 4+, and a remount for protected ammo of a 3+, which is pretty solid. Our skill rating is a trained 4+. With the anti-tank being a 10, firepower 3, and the range is 28 inches. Front armour of this vehicle is 6, side armour 4, top armour 1. When it comes to points, the Cromwell is 17 points for 3 vehicles. Looking at a gamer's perspective, it's a very below average vehicle. I mean, the best thing about the Cromwell would be the 12 inches tactical dash move that you get, but in reality it's not really a strongly effective fighting vehicle. You can argue that it was used for reconnaissance, and it does have the scout rule, which is a big advantage. I do personally love the look of the Cromwell. I think it's a fantastic figure to have, and it's cool to look at. However, playing with it, it's a completely different story. I mean, if you love it, play it. However, if you really want to win the game, if you're a competition player, then maybe the Cromwell isn't the best pick for your force. Now we have the Centaur up as a support tank platoon. We have a hit on a 4+, motivation 4+, remount rating 3+, and skill is trained. Looking at our armor, front armor 6, side armor 4, top armor 1. Tactical move is 10, so it's lost 2 inches from previous. Looking at its purpose, which is obviously artillery, has a range of 48 inches, which isn't too bad. Anti-tank 3 for the bombardment, and a firepower 3+, which is pretty good. It also has smoke bombardment. When it comes to direct fire, range of 24 inches, moving rate of fire 1, halted 1. Anti-tank 8, which is pretty good for the time, and a firepower 2+. It does have brutal, slow firing and smoke, making it very versatile when it comes to direct fire. For Centaurs it's 20 points, and for 2 it's 10, so you're paying on the higher end for an artillery battery, but they are armoured and they can be used for multi-purpose, which is a bit of an advantage. So yeah, depending how you play, this could be a good vehicle to have in your force. Now jumping over to the crown jewel of the Sherman family, we have the British Firefly. We have a hit on of 4+, motivation of a 4+, remount rating of a 3+. Our skill is trained, so just mediocre. Front armor is a 6, side armor is 4, and top armor is 1. Now we go to the best part about it, which is the 17 pounder. Now this is the envy of all Sherman tanks. Looking at the 17 pounder itself, we have a range of 36 inches, a halted rate of fire of 2, a moving of 1, and an anti-tank of 14, firepower 3+. Now this is a great gun for knocking out those pesky big cats such as the Panther and Tiger that lurk around on the Flames of War battlefield. One minor disadvantage when it comes to the 17 pounder is no HE. This means you have to reroll firepower tests when shooting at dug-in infantry. I personally wouldn't waste your time doing this and just stick to taking out tanks because that's what it specializes in. Overall, the other disadvantage is the lack of armor this tank has. It can be taken out by every single average mediocre anti-tank gun and medium tank around the world at this time. However, it is still a very exciting tank to play and people have a lot of fun with it, so I recommend definitely adding this to your force as something that might give you the edge in winning a battle. Here we have a Sherman armoured troop with 5 vehicles, ensuring the British Firefly once again. In the box we have 5 Sherman 75mm or a Firefly 17 pounder tanks, 1 decal sheet and 8 unit cards. When it comes to the unit card itself, we have a hit rating of 4+, a morale of 4+, a skill level of 4+, so it takes the trophy for being the best mediocre tank. Like the Cromwell, it has a front armor of 6, side armor of 4, top armor of 1. The main gun is a 75mm, range of 28 inches, halted 2, moving 1 for its rate of fire, anti-tank 10, firepower 3+. We have for a armored troop of 3, we have 12 points, coming in at 4 points per tank, which isn't a bad price, but you're paying for what you get. Shermans are great for hoarding and attacking the enemy position, but however, if you're able to break them up into individual units or sections, they are definitely not strong. An average German or Russian or any anti-tank gun in the game can really take out a Sherman easily. When the Sherman company comes up against another medium tank army, it will do fairly well, but when it comes to heavy tanks from the German or Russians or wherever you may play, the Sherman will struggle. But the best thing in the Sherman is its numbers, so play it with its numbers. Last but not least, we have the Stuart Recon Patrol for the British. Late war, you get 4 vehicles in the session. Turning over to the back, we have 4 37mm Stuart tanks, 1 decal sheet, and 2 unit cards. When it comes to the unit card itself, the Stuarts hit on a 4+. Jumping over to motivation, we have Confident of 4+, Scout Counterattack 5+, Scout Last Stand is a 5+. Now down to Skill, Trained 4+, Scout Assault 5+. Over to the armor, we have a front armor of 4, side armor of 3, and top armor of 1. The Stuart's main gun is a 37mm. Its range is 24 inches. It has a halted rate of fire of 2, moving of a 1, and an anti-tank of 7 with a firepower of 4+. This tank is designed to be used as a reconnaissance vehicle, having the 2 special rules of Spearhead and Scout. This allows it to be deployed further ahead outside the deployment zone. The main purpose of the Stuart tank for the Recce is to attack weakly defended objectives and to harass armoured cars. But for 8 points for 4 vehicles, it's not a bad buy, and so if you've got 3 points, the Stuarts are a good thing to put in your force. That's it for this week's video. Remember to like and subscribe my other social media accounts at Desert Fox Miniatures, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks!